speak to the resolution, the chair recognizes Representative Gay-Dagnogo.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Today I rise in great opposition of this resolution, not because of just its controversial title, but because of its political intent. Many of us in this room, or all of us in this room, has survived a pandemic thus far. And for those of us who are people of faith, we say thank God. But there are many who are continuing to die by another pandemic, a pandemic that has taken the lives of Black men, Black women, Black boys at the hands of police brutality. Now, I know it's uncomfortable to hear that, but know that I don't say that in contempt of law enforcement, because many of my family members and church members are members of the law enforcement community. I would never want to live in a community where it's a lawless society. But I do understand the original reason why we have law enforcement. I do understand that many of my forefathers were drug out of their homes and hung in trees, hung on court grounds by law enforcement. I do understand that there was a time where we couldn't even have African-American law enforcement. And as my colleague from the city of Detroit pointed out, as a former law enforcement officer, there was a time where African-American law enforcement could not ride with anyone else but another Black law enforcement officer. Now, I have to say this. When I first heard the defund the police at my 53 years of age, I said, what in the world does that mean? But as a former Detroit public school teacher, I took the time to hear young people who passionately articulated from the depth of their soul, after marching day after day and night after night, protesting peacefully because they could not take it anymore. As my colleague from Inkster said earlier today, or I'll paraphrase, we are not our ancestors. And so they have marched, but they are demanding something different. So I had to listen a little bit more to find out, what does it really mean to defund the police? No, it doesn't mean to zero out the budget. It doesn't mean that we're going to close up every precinct around the state of Michigan. It doesn't mean that we're going to get rid of all the sheriffs. It doesn't mean that. But it means that we're going to restore what a governor once took away from us, our mental health institutions. It means that we're going to restore the funding that will be necessary, and perhaps think outside the box. Maybe have someone who has a law enforcement background coupled with someone that has a mental health or a social worker background, so that we can address some of the problems that we see in domestic violence and otherwise, and realize on every call it doesn't have to be the loss of a life. Yes, the loss of George Floyd on May 25th in Minneapolis sparked an outcry that is really a phenomenon to me, because this isn't the first time we visited this. There's a campaign that says, say their name. And just to name a few, Breonna Taylor, I wonder why March 13th, she didn't get the same outcry. But she couldn't even stay in her own home. 12:30 in the morning, imagine someone come and knock on your door, into your house, without announcing who they are, and then kill you, kill your daughter, kill your mother, kill your wife, simply because they are the police. What does it mean to defund the police? It doesn't mean we're going to get rid of those who will protect and serve, but what it does mean, we're going to get rid of the practices that no longer keep us all safe. It means we're going to eradicate the pandemic that is a bounty on the Black heads of boys and girls in our community. Those of us who are parents of Black boys, oh, we fear every day. We teach our children before they leave home, watch who you're with, watch who you ride with, watch how you talk to the police. Keep your hands on the steering wheel. 12 o'clock, 6 o'clock, 3 o'clock, 9 o'clock. Don't move if you're stopped. Don't flinch for your pocket. Don't reach for your glove compartment. Say yes, sir. Say no, sir. Look straight ahead. Don't flinch. Don't reach for your pocket even if they tell you to get your license. Don't reach for your registration even if they tell you to get your registration. We have to go over these lessons over and over and over again, because we want our children to come home. Now, I know the representative that sponsored this, and I consider him a very cordial representative that I've had an opportunity to be on local news with, spend some time having conversations with, but I see this as a political division metric as opposed to a true solution. Because if we really were about solution, we would be about having the conversations like some of us had this morning about how we bring ourselves together, allow our respective lens to see from somebody else's lens, so we can really look at a solution that is not Democrat or Republican, but that is life-saving. This further widens the gap of our communication and our understanding and our receptiveness of each other, our tolerance for each other, our willingness to put our partisan ideology aside just for a moment so that we can collectively save at least one life. Michigan has done much better than some of the cities in the states that have had some of these problems that you see that created the uprising. But we can't turn a blind eye or a deaf ear to the millions of people that are even outside of America that are saying no more. Let's not miss this moment of our young people that have come together. Now, I know some are flinching and saying I'm talking for quite a while, but guess what? The officer had his knee on George's neck for over 8 minutes long, and I'm nowhere near 8 minutes. My point is, we can do better than this. We can have and establish a level of consciousness that does not dismiss some of our differences, but will at least embrace the humanity of who we are as a people. My colleague from the 1st District will be sponsoring a Juneteenth resolution that will speak to our freedom as African American people, which will be celebrated on June 19th. But we're not really free if we're constantly fearing for our lives and the lives of our sons and our husbands and our brothers daily. Now, I know this might not be a worry for each of you, but know that it is a worry for us. We love police officers. I work with many of them in my community, our neighborhood police officers. And so if we really, truly want to advance and support our officers, we must also address the things that we've done to their pensions, their paychecks, and things like that. But I digress. Today, defunding the police, again, is not zeroing out a budget. I believe in local control. We should not get in the business of now trying to dictate in this divisive way language that separates us. Let's listen to our young men and young women. You know what? I'm proud because some of your children have come to Detroit and helped us protest. If you look at the cameras of who was there, it's not just all Detroiters, and they're not just black. They are white because they now understand that as a people in the state of Michigan, we're much better than this. As a nation, we're much better than this. And so let's put aside this petty party ideology and let's adopt solutions that will properly staff our police officers and force, that will properly equip and train them with the mental health support they need, that will make sure that we advance partnerships and think outside the box. Yes, I'm calling for us to defund the police as we know it, but not to zero it out. And so I ask for my colleagues to vote in opposition to this resolution that will advance a division in our communication, in our conversation for justice, and stand with the hundreds and thousands of people throughout the state of Michigan, this country, and the whole world that are saying no more. We're better than this. Let's lead Michigan's 100th legislature. Let's show the state of Michigan what we can do together. I'm hopeful that after these games we're playing today, we will have a package of bipartisan bills that truly advance solutions for true justice and working in harmony with law enforcement and not these massive killings that continue to take our children out. Say their name: Breonna Taylor, George Floyd, Philando Castile, Tamir Rice, Trayvon Martin, and many more. Say their names.
get to know their names. They lost their life because of things like this, because we can't get our house together. Let us be a beacon of light for this country. I know when I talk to you all one-on-one, we can do it. I believe in the faith in you and the God in you that we got to do what's right. Let's vote no in opposition to this, and let's work together to get some real solutions to make sure that all of our children come home safe every day and every night. Thank you so much for your latitude.